This week's menu plan is coming from cupboard to table. I've had some wings in the freezer and I don't know what to do with them, so I'm gonna make the garlic lime wings. I also still have some ground beef in the freezer, so I'm going to make the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. Chicken cordon bleu casserole, because it just looks really easy. I'm gonna try pork chops again, even though I don't like them, but I'm trying again. These look pretty tasty. Then we are trying the 1 skillet Salisbury steak with butter merlot sauce. I sincerely believe that from scratch is best, especially when baking, but I've been trying shortcut recipes because I don't know everything. Maybe I will discover something super easy and absolutely delicious, and that is what I'm hoping to do with these ricotta lemon poppy muffins. So I'm going out on a limb and I'm making a boxed muffin. We'll see. All of the recipes from this week are from this cookbook except for the crispy chicken with sherry vinegar, which is from that cookbook. Crispy chicken with sherry vinegar sauce. She claims that her husband jokes that this was the chicken that made him propose. So we'll see. We're making pork chops with lemon thyme sauce. Here are the ingredients for the pork chops. Here are the ingredients for the lemon thyme cream sauce, just in case you want to take a picture of that. And here are the instructions. Oops, let me angle it this way, just in case you want to screenshot that. We have a brand new stove, ladies and gentlemen. The oven died, and I am so glad it died, because if you watched my vlog, you saw how hard it was for me to cook with. So he literally left maybe 10 minutes ago, if that. We've got the flour, salt, pepper, and garlic powder and flour. We're gonna mix it and we're gonna dredge my pork chops. Did very lightly salt my pork chops because flavor. For those of you that don't feel like measuring, much like myself, it took about 1 lemon to get just shy of 3 tablespoons lemon juice. I'm pretty sure I'll be fine. And about a teaspoon of the lemon zest. I didn't measure that either, but it looks like a teaspoon to me. I mean, as long as yours is as juicy as mine was, but whatevs. We have here our frozen white wine. Remember, we froze that. I think I made the pork chops with lemon thyme cream sauce. I cooked them incorrectly. That's what I did want to note. It told me later on after I read the recipe. That's why you should always read the recipe once through in its entirety before you cook it. But I didn't, so I fully cooked the pork chops instead of just browning them on either side and letting them simmer. I think it told you to simmer it in the sauce, but I didn't do that. I fully cooked them and then I made the sauce, but it turned out really good. And you know me, I don't really like pork chops because I taste the pork and then I'm just like, I just don't really like the taste of that. But these were really good, so my husband rated them a 9, a very high 9. I rated them a 9. I don't remember. Did I rate them in the video? I'm not sure what I gave them, but maybe I didn't eat the same time he did. I'm trying to remember. But I remember having them, and the day after I made them, they were even better. So I remember rating them even higher the next day. I really liked these pork chops, and so did he. So that's gonna be a keeper. We're gonna make the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. I just woke up, if you can't tell by my voice. Here are the ingredients. You can take a screenshot of that if you want. In my opinion, the only way to mix meatloaf is with your hands. The only thing I mix prior is the egg. I whisk it with a fork so that I can make sure it's gonna be well incorporated. So I've cut up my cheese, I've got my breadcrumbs, my onion, my salt, my pepper, my garlic powder, my Worcestershire sauce, the egg, the ketchup, and I'm gonna mix it by hand. Make my lattice and then put it on my pan with a rack. I forgot to mention that it's best to mix the meatloaf minimally. If you overprocess your meatloaf, it becomes tough and weird. So mix it until it's incorporated, but don't like go super ham. I do like to make my meatloaf a little flatter than it is taller because I find it cooks a bit more easily that way. My loaf is going to be 3 bacon across and 4 bacon down. Here we have the glorious tucking in the bacon. I think there's nothing worse than overcooked bacon, and that's why I highly recommend thermometer. You don't need to spend this much money. I did. I bought this for myself for Christmas. It's over $100, this one is, but it's instant read in just seconds. But I do a lot of candy making and baking and cooking, and I really wanted something accurate, and so I splurged, and this is by far my favorite, one of my favorite and most used kitchen items. But before this, I did have just the one with the dial, and that will suffice. It really will. But I went, did something special for myself and got myself this lovely thermopin. I bought it, it was on Christmas special with a coupon code through America's Test Kitchen. So I did get it a little cheaper than the original price. So I think maybe you should wait until you see it on sale with America's Test Kitchen. I don't know when they do that. They did it for Christmas. But anyway, so about half an hour in, I'll stab my meatloaf just to see the temperature. If it's 145, I know it's going to be done a lot sooner than another 20 or 30 minutes, right? But if I stab it and it's only 100 degrees, I know that it'll probably sit in there the entire 50 to 60 minutes. But I do stab it about halfway through its cooking process to see how much longer it needs to cook, because I hate overcooked meat. It's the worst.
That's good.
You like it?
Uh-huh.
Out of all the meatloafs I made, do you like the other one still?
Oh my god, no, this one.
Oh, really? I feel like it could have some more flavor in the meat, though, honestly. I might manipulate it. I like how the bacon, isn't,
It's actually cooked perfect.
Yeah.
The bacon.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
What do you rate it?
8.9. HBU.
Well, I really like the touch of bacon, and it is a delightful meatloaf, but I feel like there could have been more flavor in the meat. I feel like I can make it a 10, but right now it sits at an 8 point.
What is this? What is your gut telling
5, 6. Because the only thing that was seasoning this meat is salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I was tempted to add more because I like more
Adobos.
flavor, but I didn't add any. I should have added more flavor. I think it would be really good with the flavor composition I have up here. I could turn it into something great.
For sure.
Like a steak seasoning-ish, but not really. Like a hamburger seasoning-ish. Because it's like a bacon cheeseburger. So how you would season the meat for a bacon cheeseburger, you know, should be how you flavor that, right? I definitely recommend setting foil beneath. Look at that. That's gonna help a lot. Then we had the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. 8.56. I think that's him, or maybe that's me. I don't remember. And then it says 8.9. Now, the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf looked amazing. I would probably change some things. Instead of breadcrumbs, I would probably use saltine crackers. I just like saltine crackers crumbled up in my meatloaf more so than any other type of bread or crumb or anything I've ever tried. And I would also flavor the meat a lot more than it was flavored. There wasn't very much flavor. So I'm thinking almost like that Montreal steak seasoning or something, some kind of, however you would flavor a hamburger patty. Because I really like a lot of seasoning and a lot of taste, a lot of flavor. I don't like bland things. So I think that I could make this a much higher rated recipe. But the bacon on top and the cheese inside made it pretty special. But the meat itself, I feel like could have been flavored a lot better. So I would have changed that for the bacon cheeseburger meatloaf. There's your picture if you want to screenshot that. And I'm going to get my, this looks so easy to make. I'm going to get my ingredients out. It never told me what size of instant pudding package I needed. There's the lemon cake mix, and I guess I opted for the 6.9, nope, the 4.3. Or maybe it's 3.4 is the other size. I don't know, there's like a big size and a small size. I don't know what made me settle for this size, but I did. People will probably rate this a 7, but I'm giving it a 6. Probably even a 5. I just don't like packaged crap. And despite adding your own ricotta and your own lemon zest, there's just no getting over the fact that these are definitely not homemade. I'm just not impressed at all. Then I made the lemon ricotta muffins, which I threw away. I just don't like box mix. I mean, the regular run-of-the-mill, I make things from a box all the time type would probably think they were quite tasty. And they were moist because of the ricotta, and they had a little something special because of the poppy seeds, but I felt like I wasted everything that I put into them. I would not have, I hate boxed baked goods. We are going to try the chicken cordon bleu casserole. The ingredients are as follows, if you want to take a screenshot of that. And there are the instructions. This asks you to use a Pepperidge Farm poultry stuffing. But the kind of stuffing I grew up on is stovetop. So I'm not familiar with Pepperidge Farm. I think I bought it one time for a different casserole and I wasn't impressed. So I did buy the stovetop. It says you want 2.5 cups, but one entire package is just 2 cups, a little over 2 cups. I think I'll be just fine. This is obviously not a low sodium, raw, calorie conscious, preservative free, fresh dish. This is like your typical 1960s I love canned processed food because I don't know how bad it is for me yet type casserole. And I'm okay with that. I'm not sure if I've got 3 cups. It looks more like 2 to me, but I don't care. As much broccoli's in this, I sure hope it cooks down. I'm using, so I feel like I could have used a 9x13, honestly. I like to use scissors because it's easier. It says to cut your chicken into bite-sized pieces. Use a pound of chicken. I'm using like a pound 0.7, almost a pound and 3/4, because meat, duh. It may be easier for some people to use a knife, but I just like scissors. It just makes it easier for me, so I don't have to dirty a cutting board and all that, and I don't know. It says 6 pieces deli ham, but I'm literally just eyeballing how much would fill up my beautiful dish here. 6 slices Swiss cheese. And then we cover with the stuffing mixture. Glorious! Bake 35 to 40 minutes or until heated through. I'm going to cover mine with foil for the first 20 minutes. It doesn't tell me to, but I'm just going to. Casserole?
It's really good.
I'm glad you like it. What's your food?
9.72.
9.72? Oh! The chicken cordon bleu casserole, my husband rated a 9. You saw it in the video, I don't remember what it is. I rated it, I don't remember if I said either, but maybe an 8.6. My husband suggested, I did double the meat, and I did do less broccoli, and my husband thought maybe doing half broccoli, half asparagus, and asparagus would have went well with this. So that was a really good recipe. He really liked it. So if you don't like broccoli, I would just omit the broccoli, maybe add asparagus instead, maybe not add anything, I don't know, but I did put a lot more meat in that than the recipe called for. There are the ingredients for you to screenshot, and these are the instructions. It didn't tell me to marinate the wings at all, but I did. These were in the freezer, and I took them out yesterday and put them in a bowl of water to, well, it's a bowl of brine, really. I put salt, pepper, garlic powder, and lime juice of 2 limes, and then I just threw the lime bits in there just to make the flavor go through them. This is, it didn't tell me to do this, but I did it anyway, because I like marinating my meat or making a brine or whatever. So we're going to lay these out to dry, and then we're going to split them. I'm going to be splitting these. If dealing with meat weirds you out, then don't watch this part, because some people get weirded out. I don't know why you're watching my meal plans if you don't eat meat, because that's all I eat. So carry on, vegetarians and vegans. Goodbye. Otherwise, stick around and watch me split these suckers. So what you do to split these, you just feel where the soft spot is, right like below where you bend a knee, right? There's going to be a little soft spot, and that is where you can cut some of the skin away to see where the joint is if you're having a hard time finding it with your finger. I have nothing against vegetarians or vegans, don't get me wrong, but what I do dislike about most people that follow a vegetarian or a vegan diet is that they try to impose that on everyone else they meet. And I don't like that. Like, if you want to be a vegan, totally be a vegan. If you want to be a vegetarian, be a vegetarian. But don't try to force me, change my beliefs. Like, I've never told a vegan they should eat meat, ever. I respect that they don't. Like, if that's what you want to do, bro, do you. But don't try to force me to follow your beliefs. And the way that a lot of people go about it is that they make you feel horrible for eating meat. Or at least they try to make you feel horrible. I don't feel horrible. I think what they're doing is wrong. But the difference between me and them is that I don't jump down their throat when they eat a pepper instead of a chicken wing. This whole beef causes cancer crap. You know, the kind of people that they studied that ate beef? They lived sedentary lifestyles. They didn't rule out if they were smokers, if they were drinkers, if they ate like that all the time. Of course, a plant-based diet, like one stronger based in plants, is generally going to be healthier because there's no balance. Like, the people that they studied had no dietary balance. And the way that they prepared the meat was like barbecue. The charcoal on the barbecue, like the charred part of the meat, that's what's cancerous. So it's a lot to do with the way you prepare it, not even the actual meat itself. And if you really are concerned, and if you can afford to, I can't afford to right now, honestly. You just buy organic, grass-fed, no hormone added, no nitrates. The things that make meat cancerous is not the meat's fault. It's the way we mass produce meat these days. That's what's cancerous. There's nothing wrong with eating a nice clean chicken. I digress. So those of you that eat meat, do you. Those of you that don't eat meat, do you. Just leave me out of it. Because I leave y'all alone. So leave me alone. It asks me to mince the garlic into a small bowl. It tells me to put 4 cloves. So I count this as 1, 2, 3, and all these little ones equal 4. That's how I'm calculating it. But because it wants me to put these in a paste, in like a sauce, I'm gonna use my mincer dealie because it makes a much more fine. Uh-oh, can you see it? It's much more fine than if I were to cut it myself, and I just feel like that helps. This is my microplane zester, and you can just take the clove of garlic and do the same sort of situation if you don't have the little deal I do, or just use a knife, whatever. It says to use half a teaspoon of lime zest, and if you've never zested, you know not to zest all the way down to the white, because that is the pith, and the pith is very bitter. Wait, 1 whole lime. A half a cup of honey or dark corn syrup. What do you give it?
3.5.
Then we have the garlic lime wings. He was not fond of those. I gave them a 5. My mom gave them a 10. So it depends on how, it's just the flavor composition of these. They're a bit sweet because of the honey, and my husband does not like sweet food. I mean, food that's, when you're eating dinner, it's supposed to be savory. Like, he's not a fan of it being sweet. And I think that's why he doesn't like ketchup, brown sugar ketchup toppings on his meatloaf, because he's not a fan of sweet meat. It doesn't sit well with him. But if you like garlic lime and you like kind of a honey glaze on your chicken, which isn't bad, I don't mind it. The way that it was cooked was very good, but I think I'll do lemon pepper the next time. That's the first time I'd ever made wings. My mom likes honey glaze type foods, and so she gave them a 10. She really liked them. So this, I think, depends on what kind of taste you prefer. He didn't think that the garlic went well with the lime, but it just depends on what you like together, I think. So this rating is a very personal rating. So don't take it like it's just a terrible recipe. Know that it would be really good to some people if sweet type wings are your thing and the garlic lime flavor is your thing, because it was very good if you like that. I am making crispy chicken with sherry vinegar sauce. These are the ingredients. This is the recipe. It says 4 skin on bone-in chicken breast halves. They're about 2 pounds total. Well, each one of my chicken breast halves is about a pound total, so either they had some small chickens or I did something wrong where I'm supposed to split these, but they're bone-in and skin on, and I don't know how to split them. And I've been Googling and I don't get it. Whatever, I'm just gonna make these the way they are. They're huge, so I hope they cook through, and I hope that they have flavor. Because I didn't brine them. I just woke up. Pregnancy problems. When it comes to sherry vinegar or any kind of wine or butter or anything, I believe the ingredients are key, especially in a recipe this simple. The only red wine vinegar they had was the Safeway brand or Signature Kitchens, And this isn't even sherry vinegar. I googled what would be a good sherry vinegar substitute because I could not find sherry vinegar. They said red wine vinegar would be the next best thing. So if this recipe doesn't come out, it is my fault, not the recipes. I just had a really hard time finding sherry vinegar and red wine vinegar for that matter. I think it said that I could use red wine vinegar plus a little bit of sherry wine. But whatever. It's too late now. I've just removed the chicken into a baking dish. I'm going to put the baking dish into the oven, and I'm going to put 4 cloves of finely chopped garlic into the baking dish, scraping up the fond as I go, because that's where all the flavor is. That was the sound of me adding the red wine vinegar and a little bit of that I found in my cupboard. I've dumped in the paprika, and now it tells me add the broth and honey and simmer until the liquid is reduced to about half a cup. It's telling me to whisk in the butter 1 tablespoon at a time until it's incorporated, but I just took the whole slab, and I'm using tongs, far from a whisk, to run along the pan until it melts. What do you rate this?
What you give it?
9.5. I really like it. But I keep giving it sauce.
I think you're rating the sauce.
I'm rating the sauce.
Oh no, the sauce is a 10.
The sauce is a 10.
The sauce is a fucking 10.
Then we had the crispy chicken with sherry vinegar. The sauce was definitely a 10. The chicken is just sort of plain because as the ingredients, I think were just salt and pepper, and then you just fry up the chicken in a skillet. And it was crispy and delicious. I liked the way we cooked it, but I should have brined the chicken before I made it. If you had, the sauce really made the whole dish. If you wiped the chicken in the sauce and you took a bite each time in the sauce, you were eating a 10 piece of chicken. So it was kind of, the rating process for that was kind of complicating because it was really, we were rating the sauce. This sauce was really good. So we rated that a 10 with the sauce, but the chicken itself was a bit bland, but I feel like you could fix that with just brining it before you did that. And really the sauce is, it's all about the sauce anyway, because you pour it all over the chicken, right? We are making 1 skillet Salisbury steak with butter merlot sauce. Here are the ingredients for you to screenshot. Here are the instructions. And there's the picture. So here we have my Worcestershire sauce, garlic, onion, what is that called? An egg? 2 eggs actually. And then it says soft breadcrumbs. I'm just using my trusty, I've got this in Italian breadcrumbs and regular, and I use the heck out of these. So 2 cups of this, and then we're gonna do salt and pepper, and then mix it all up and put it in 6 patties. Pan's a bit crowded, but whatever. I flipped them, I added the 2 tablespoons water, and now they're in there simmering for 15 minutes, or whenever I can smell them, honestly. And I'll check them with my meat thermometer, and then continue with the rest of the process. Well, my mushrooms are slimy and old and gross. So this is what I've got. It's not a cup, it's not even fresh mushrooms, but it's gonna have to do. Also, out of the hundreds of spices I have, I don't have rosemary, and I don't have fresh rosemary, I don't have dried rosemary. And this tells me I need either a fresh sprig of rosemary or a half a teaspoon dry. Well, I'm just going to do half a teaspoon of herbs de Provence because second ingredient on it is rosemary, but it's mixed with a bunch of other things, and it's just going to have to do. It says to wipe out the skillet with paper towels, but I didn't because, hello, that's flavor. As I was saying, as long as you don't have like charcoal black burnt, this looks charcoal black, but it's brown, bits on the bottom, then leave the fond there because that adds loads of flavor. So as soon as the butter begins to brown, we're gonna add our canned mushrooms. And I am just gonna serve it with some pasta. I'm excited this has a sauce because I get to use this roll wrap. Stainless steel. I don't know, my mom gave it to me and I'm really excited to use it. I forgot to mention that my meat reached temperature at about 12 minutes. I guess it just depends on how hard you're simmering. If you're simmering high or if you're simmering low. That was frozen. Don't be weird. Let's not get weird. I didn't add the rosemary when I added the mushrooms because I didn't have a sprig, but I did just grind up that dried herbs de Provence in my hands like I showed you guys before. And I'm going to let this reduce by half. And then I'll add the cream. That's reduced by half. It's definitely spitting all over my stove. No drop. What do you rate it?
Just a Salisbury. I get an 801. 8.01.
8.01. Then we just ate the 1 skillet Salisbury steak with butter Merlot sauce. My husband rated it at 8.01. He really liked it. I did not like it. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the texture of it. I didn't like the flavor of the meat. He liked it though, and he rates kind of hard, so an 8.01 is pretty high for him. But I rate it like a 6. I just wasn't very impressed by it at all. So try it out and see if you like it, because he did. And that's it for my ratings. Now I'm gonna plan for next week.